What is it that allows certain companies, institutions, organizations to go on this path to success that seems unavoidable? What is it that makes the difference between these institutions that are constantly successful and these other ones that seem to constantly be struggling? Hi, I'm Marcia Amaro, and I would like to share with you today that similar to those companies that are always set for success, there is one thing that if we implement in our families will point us in the right direction to being on that path for what seems like unstoppable and unavoidable success. So what is it? What is that thing that makes the difference between a company or an organization that is always set to thrive, that is always moving forward, a company like Apple, like Walmart, that regardless of what our personal feelings might be about the company and its brand, we know that they seem to be on this path where success is unavoidable, where they are constantly growing and thriving and going into new niches and taking control of new segments of the market out there. What is it that makes that difference? And why should we care as a family? Well, I believe that what makes the difference in those institutions is that they have clear set values that are effectively communicated to each member of the institution. Now, the family is an organization. The family is the first initial original institution on this planet. And if we stop to think about our family a little bit more like a brand, and what is it that we want our brand to represent, then we understand that these things that these companies do very often apply to us as a family unit. So, in terms of what we are discussing today, values, those set clear, specific values that are effectively communicated to everybody involved can make or break the effectiveness of your family as an organization. So what are the key values that every family should establish, that we should start with? Because it might be a little difficult at first to think about values. What are they? How do we establish them? Well, before we move any further, let's define values. Values are those things that you hold in high regard. They are those things that stem from our beliefs and that help us determine what traits and skills and actions are not just acceptable, but essential for moving forward and for knowing that we are doing the right thing, that we are fitting into the definition that we have as a family of success, and that fit into our belief system and don't go against everything that we are and everything that we believe to be important. So the first value that I would suggest you think about with your family and try to implement is mindset, in terms of, do we establish in our family a growth mindset and a positive mindset, or do we do the opposite? See, here's the thing. A lot of people out there believe that you are born with certain abilities, that you are born with just certain capabilities, and that once you reach the limit of those capabilities, you're done. But as Mark Twain said once, the moment you stop growing and learning is the second you start dying. So when we think through what we are encouraging and teaching within our family, are we encouraging this mindset, this value, this belief that everybody can grow? That everybody can do their absolute best. That even if you don't completely excel at something, you can take little strides to move in that direction if that's something that's valuable to you. That, for example, in learning, in school, we are not born with just a limited amount of intelligence. We can grow that intelligence. We can grow how much we can learn and intake. And the more we understand that our minds and our abilities are malleable, that we can shift them, that we can grow them and expand them, the more we set ourselves up for learning more, for growing more. Because imagine this. If you have a task that you have to undertake, for example, let's say you tell me that I have to go run a marathon. Let's use that one. I have to go run a marathon. I have never run more than 10 steps in my life, if I'm being honest. I don't run. So if you tell me that I have to run a marathon tomorrow or in a week, and I get in my head that there is no way, I can't do this, I have never run, I don't have the capabilities, I wasn't born athletic, I just can't do this, guess what's going to happen when I go run the marathon? First of all, I might not even show up. But if I do, I'm going to give up as soon as the first ache happens, because I have it in my head that I can't do this. Now, if I have a growth positive mindset, I might not finish the marathon, but I guarantee you I will go a lot further than if I believe I can't do it. So if we have this growth mindset, if we have this understanding that trying is valuable in and of itself, that giving it your best effort, it's what really matters, that pushing yourself beyond your current limits is important and it yields great rewards, then we move our family in a completely new direction. The second value I would suggest is important to teach our families and to make as one of the key values for us is the value of taking responsibility. Here's what I have noticed. For whatever reason, we live in a society where it's a lot easier to sue and to point fingers and to accuse someone else than to take the responsibility for our own actions. Now, what that really creates in us is this victim mentality. Everybody's against us, everybody's attacking us. Our ability to succeed and to move forward is then determined by what we perceive other people are doing that either works for or against us. The second something doesn't go our way, because it's not our responsibility, because it's not something we did, it's something that somebody else did to us, it's easy for us to give up because we don't feel any kind of negative emotion surrounding the fact that someone else blocked our path. You see what I'm saying? But if we teach our kids and if we teach ourselves and make it a value in our families that we are going to take responsibility for everything that we do and the consequences that come from it, then we shift and we move into a position of control. We move into a position where no matter what has just happened, we can do something about it because it is our responsibility. Now, this is not to say that there aren't tragic things that happen in our lives that we really don't have any say in why it happened or how it happened. We really had no control. But even in those instances when terrible things happen, we still have the responsibility of determining what we are going to do with this new information. How are we going to manage what just happened? What are we going to do? Jim Rohn, a great business leader, used to say that you can't control the wind, but you can set the sail. What does that mean? Well, the wind is going to blow, or it's not going to blow, and it's going to blow in the direction it wants to. But if you're trying to move your ship forward, you can always adjust the sail to make sure that you use that wind effectively. So make sure that you teach your kids. I've heard kids in my 2 decades, almost 3, of dealing with teens. I hear teens all the time say, oh, that teacher has it against me. It might as well be, but what are you going to do about it, right? So your teacher hates you. Can you control how your teacher feels about you? My boss doesn't give me clear instructions. Okay, your boss doesn't give you clear instructions. What are you going to do about it? Oh, these kids, they don't want to work with me and they make my day really, really hard at school. Okay, so these kids make your day hard at school. What are you going to do about it? What can you learn from it? What is the part of all of this that you can control? So your teacher hates you. What can you do? Well, be on your best behavior. Follow instructions. Take good notes. Ask someone else in the classroom to help you, another one of your peers to help you study and process the information. Make sure that you are doing what the teacher is requiring or requesting of you. And see what happens in the end. You still have control. Your boss doesn't give you clear direction. Can you go up to your boss and say, hey, can we clarify what comes next? Can we sit down and talk about the priorities and the steps that you want me to take in this project? So you see, no matter what is happening around us, no matter what circumstances are thrown our way, if we assume this stance and have this value that is part of our DNA, that we can take responsibility for everything that happens in, at, around, and through us, and that we can manage and control the consequences by deciding how we're going to respond to things, then we move from a position of victim to a position of authority over our own lives. As we continue to explore the values that are worth instilling in our families, I invite you to take a second to subscribe to my channel. I come on here at least twice a week, and I give you new tips, strategies, and information that can help you design a family and a life that are set for success. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's move on to the third and final value that I would like to share with you today. One of the greatest tragedies of this generation is that our teens seem to be walking around without a sense of purpose. They have no clue why their lives even matter. They don't see how their being on this planet can have a positive impact on everybody else's lives. So the third value that I would encourage you to inspire and motivate and instill in your family is this value of an eternal view. We are one piece of a huge puzzle. We are one grain of sand in a huge beachfront. So we all need to have a sense of purpose and a sense of belonging in being here on this planet. I wholeheartedly believe that if we didn't have something unique and special to bring to the planet, we wouldn't be here. So help your kids discover what that purpose is for each of them, and make it a value in your family to not just identify and understand that we have a purpose on this planet, that we are part of a grander global community, and that we do have something to offer, but also make it a point to encourage each other's purpose and each other's abilities. As you explore this value, you are going to discover things about your kids and yourself and your spouse that you might not even have thought of before. And you might see that there is something unique and special that each of you has to bring, that if you operate within that sense of purpose, it will actually ripple out and make a difference in the entire planet. If we can create a new generation that drives themselves by a true sense of purpose, that understands that if they don't live up to their potential, they're actually stealing from the rest of the planet, then we will see a changed world before our time here is up. So instill in yourself and your family this value and this idea that we each have a unique, special, and essential purpose that we need to bring to this planet. So thank you for spending this time with me. I'm Marcy Amaro. I hope that this conversation about values has actually triggered some more thoughts in your mind and in your heart about other values that you think are important, that you think need to be taught and ingrained in our families today. I invite you to comment below and let me know what other values are essential to you and to your family. What things might I have missed in talking about values today? Do you agree with the 3 values that I presented to you today? And if not, then how should I be looking at this? Is there another way in which I should be thinking about it? I look forward to reading your comments. Again, if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notifications. I'm Marcy Amaro, and together we will design families and lives that are set for success. See you on the next one.